Good evening, all. Welcome to the Monday, November 15th, 2021 meeting of the Woodbridge Traffic Authority and Board of Police Commissioners. I think we're required to take attendance. If you can just indicate your presence by saying here. Commissioner Esposito,
Here.
Commissioner Shambrown,
Here.
Commissioner Freed,
Here.
Commissioner Desir.
Here.
Thank you. Welcome all. First item on the agenda for the Woodbridge Traffic Authority are the public comments. Chief, can you inquire of Janice whether anyone from the public has sent her an email or any other correspondence?
Janice is here. She says they have not.
There is someone on the Zoom screen that says John. I don't know who that is. If you're a member of the public, you can feel free to address us. Okay. Hearing no response, moving on to the two matters in the traffic. First one is the Route 243 in Milhaven crossing.
Yeah, so just an update on that. As you probably recall, during our June meeting, we discussed a request for the installation of pedestrian crossing signage on Ansonia Road, which is Route 243, near the intersection of Milhaven Road. Because it was a state highway, I wrote a letter to the Connecticut DOT and explaining the request and seeking their review and consideration. I recently heard back from them and was advised that the Department of Transportation does not install specific pedestrian walking signs such as children at play or slow children crossing signs, because they found that this type of signing doesn't influence driver behavior and may provide a false sense of security. They said that typically they put those signs in advance of a crosswalk. So on November 4th, I actually spoke at length with one of the Connecticut DOT traffic engineers about it a little bit further. And he explained that they did come out and they conducted a survey and a site study of the area encompassing Route 243 and the intersection of Milhaven, as well as the intersection of Old Barnabas Road. And he did say that they were willing to make an exception, that he informed me that the DOT, at our request and at no cost to the town, they'd be willing to put in a painted crosswalk on Ansonia Road at the east corner of Milhaven Road, along with the appropriate pedestrian crossing signage. And the only caveat was, or the only option is, if the town wanted to install the rectangular flashing beacon lights, similar to as what's on Center Road at the exit to the center building here between the center and the firehouse, something like that. That would require the installation of sidewalks by the town that would connect those streets. But if we as a traffic authority are good with a painted crosswalk and a pedestrian crossing signage similar to what's currently in front of the high school on Newton Road and in front of the town hall on Meeting House Lane, we feel it's an enhancement to the safety of pedestrians that traverse that neighborhood going to Beach Road School and the pool club and thereabouts. All I have to do is let him know, and they'll most likely go forward with that. So my opinion is, they're giving it their blessing and their approval, and they're willing to accommodate us and go forward with that. So it's my recommendation that we do that, but I present it to the board and for your decision, and then if so, I'll follow up with them.
Chief, is there any reason why we wouldn't have an interest in doing that?
No, I can't think of any reason why we would not.
And if they're installing it, is there any maintenance to that as far as the painting in the future, or?
I don't believe so, because it's on a state highway, and I know even on the municipal roads in towns, the ones in front of the Meeting House here in front of the town hall, and also on Newton Road in front of the high school, they just recently did upgrades to all those too, so they've been maintaining them and upgrading them.
Do you know physically where they would put that crosswalk?
It would be on 243, Ansonia Road, and it would be on the east. He said come off the east corner of that, so it would be on the New Haven corner, I believe, and it would go straight across.
To the east corner of Milhaven and Ansonia?
Yes.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Seems quite sensible to me. Do we need a motion to go ahead with this?
Do we do?
Yeah.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Moved by Dr. Freed, seconded by Commissioner Esposito. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? We have to go to the roll call, as I was told. Mr. Esposito,
Aye.
Commissioner Shambrown,
Aye.
Dr. Freed,
Aye.
Dr. Desir.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. The next item is Litchfield Turnpike, request for no passing zone.
Yep, so on October 19th, I received a request from a resident on Litchfield Turnpike for modification of the line markings on Route 69 near her residence. It's currently a passing zone there, and she had requested to make it a no passing zone. They did some recent repaving down there over the summer, and she had reached out to the DOT to possibly change the location there, and while they were going to be doing the painting, and they said they couldn't do it just based on our request, that she'd have to come through the town legal traffic authority as a starting point. So that's where we are tonight. I spoke with her, and she explained that the request was made due to a lot of speeding vehicles, along with serious motor vehicle accidents near her residence there. The most recent one involved a head-on accident on September 22nd. We discussed at our last meeting. This is just north of Bond Road there. And again, just this weekend, there was a rollover accident early Sunday morning at the same location in which the vehicle went off the road and into the woods. So this area where it is an area of 1863 Litchfield, which is just north of Bond Road and right in the area of Bishop Drive, just slightly south of Bishop Drive. And it's already, there are designated passing zones in north of that on 69 and south of that on 69. So I checked with DOT engineer and asked him what the best way to proceed was. And he said if I correspond with him, and the state would conduct a review and an accident history in that area, and they would determine whether or not such a change would be warranted. So I just want to make the board aware that I'll go ahead and at least forward that to the state and let them make the decision, because it falls under their auspices.
Okay.
Chief, I don't know if you recall, I had a question about the speed on Litchfield Turnpike at the last meeting, because I don't drive it on it very often, but the last time I was on it, people were tailgating me, passing me, and quite upset that I wasn't going fast enough. And about 3 or 4 days ago, I received a call from a resident who lives directly across from Clark Road.
Mhm.
And she is quite energized about this issue, about the issue of the speed that people are traveling on Route 69. And
Yeah.
I just wonder what can be done about it, because
We've addressed that with the with patrol, and the deputy chief has been following up on it, and we've brought up that concern that you raised after the last meeting, and so we've stepped up enforcement down there, and I could tell you just, I believe in the last week or so, one of the guys actually made an arrest of someone going 98 miles an hour, believe it or not, between
It's-
12 and 1 in the afternoon. So,
98.
Deputy, do you have any other follow-up on that? I know you're
Tracy.
kind of taking the lead on it.
Yes, I assigned traffic enforcement, speed enforcement to the Litchfield Turnpike area with all 3 shifts. And recently, I just received back from our C squad, which is our 3 to 11 detail, that we conducted radar between October 20th and November 9th, a total of 24 times. And in that, those 24 times, our officers issued 4 infractions, 1 written warning, 1 verbal warning. There also was, like the chief had expressed, there was an arrest of someone going 98 miles an hour. So our day shift and our midnight shift was also conducting speed enforcement on Litchfield Turnpike. However, I haven't gotten the results back yet.
Just to give a heads up, I think that particular resident is organizing, you will be hearing from her. She's organizing some town residents and some town of Bethany residents, because they're quite, and understandably so, they're quite agitated about this issue. But thank you for the stepped up enforcement, and thank you for your attention to this issue.
Well,
Is there a motion to adjourn the Woodbridge Traffic Authority?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A
Second,
second. Okay.
Thank you. So the roll call again, Commissioner Esposito,
I'm sorry.
we have to vote through roll call.
Oh, aye.
Commissioner Shambrown,
Aye.
Commissioner Freed,
Yep.
Commissioner Seer.
aye.
Passes unanimously. Welcome to the Board of Police Commissioners. It is now 6:30. The first item on the agenda is the approval of our October 18th, 2021 minutes.
So moved.
Everyone was there, so everyone is eligible to vote. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any omissions or edits? Okay. Commissioner Esposito, do you approve?
Aye.
Commissioner Shambrown,
Aye.
Dr. Freed,
Aye.
Dr. Seer.
Aye.
Thank you all. Minutes are approved. Up to public comments. Is there anyone from the public that wish to address us at the Woodbridge Board of Police Commissioners tonight? Chief, you've heard no one correspond through email?
no.
Okay. Next item is the financial report.
Okay, at this point, we're just over 4 months into the new fiscal year, current fiscal year. And overall, we're slightly over at 36.7%. Some of the lines we're closely monitoring are, as always, police officer overtime. Some of that's going to be, was paid out, but it'll be reimbursable. It has to do with DOT grant money. The ISU budget, we're at 65.7. We started out with the homicide, and that's attributed to that, and after our callouts. And another significant one is data processing, as I mentioned last month, and a lot of that has to do with our network infrastructure upgrade project that's going on. In our repair maintenance vehicles, we're at 60.3%, and a lot of that has to do with just older cars and high mileage and some major repairs that have been dealt with.
Does anyone have any questions of the chief regarding the financial report?
Frank, where are we now with, has your sergeant left? Has he retired?
Yes, he left last month.
And so, okay, he left last month. So staffing wise, where are we?
Staffing wise, we're down that one position.
Yeah.
And so that's where we are. We currently have someone that got injured the other night, and he'll be out for a few days. Hopefully that would just be a minor injury, and he'll be back. But, the significant one is the sergeant being out, so we're down one full body.
Okay.
Chief, if I can ask 2 questions, sir. One is, how is that impacting operations? And 2, is that impacting overtime at all?
Yeah, I think it's definitely impacting overtime because the other sergeants are picking up those duties, and so we're trying to deal with all that. What was the other question there, Mike? I'm sorry.
Just how it's impacting your operations. Is it adversely impacting any of the business that the police department is conducting on a shift basis?
Yeah, it is. It's just it's stressing it's putting a strain on the fact that, we're down one supervisor that's, when another supervisor is on vacation. So we're currently right now down 2 supervisors. So pretty much we're really working with only 2 patrol supervisors and then the one other ISU supervisor who's also covering the patrol during the supervision during the day. But when those the other 2 remaining sergeants are on their days off, it leaves us with that void that we're trying to deal with and fill. So sooner we get that position filled, to get that in the works, the better.
Sorry, I didn't hear the end of that. When the other 2 sergeants are on their days off, what happens to operations?
So we're trying to fill that void the best we could, or there's just no sergeant on during those times.
Are there any other financial questions? Will someone be willing to make a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Esposito,
Aye.
Commissioner Shanbrown,
Aye.
Dr. Freed,
Aye.
and Dr. Zier.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the activity report.
Just some of the criminal activity for the past month. We had 4 burglaries. We had a forcible residential burglary in the area of Sonia Road, Cross Hollow Road area that occurred 6:30 in the evening, approximately one night. We had a burglary at the Woodbridge Country Club building there, the vacant building there, attempted theft of copper during the month. And we had 2 back-to-back commercial burglaries, one of a business on Lucy Street at approximately 7:15 in the evening. And then one just a few minutes after that at an Amity Road business just north of that. Both where they smashed the glass doors and made entry. ISU's been working with that. They had recovered some surveillance video and they've identified suspect, and we're working with some of the local agencies surrounding us that were experiencing the same, and they'll be submitting a arrest warrant for the person responsible for that. We had 6 larcenies last month, theft of packages from a Dillon Road resident, theft of a Kubota tractor. A large Kubota tractor with a bucket was stolen out of a front lawn on Racebrook Road.
Really?
Catalytic converter theft on Amity Road during the overnight hours, and 2 significant thefts of large quantity of construction supplies and lumber from 2 construction sites in town. Larceny for motor vehicles was only 2 this past month. Lucy Street area and the Pease Road area. And we had a stolen vehicle that was recovered. I believe it happened at the beginning of this month, so it might have overlapped with my report from the last meeting. But that was the car that was used in a homicide in Bridgeport that was set on fire on Hollow Oak Road back on October 3rd. And working with Bridgeport authorities, we learned that they were able to make an arrest associated with the people responsible for that. So they thanked us for our help with that. On October 25th, we had an email threat investigation at the Amity High School, a possible threat on campus, which resulted in the school going into a shelter in place. Our police department is currently working with the other authorities in the area to determine the origin of the threat. We've identified a person believed to be responsible, and ISU has drafted and executed a search warrant, and they're waiting the results of forensic analysis of some electronic devices, and then to go forward with that. It involves juvenile, so they'll be conferring with the state's attorney's office at juvenile court is the best way to proceed with that. And then we had that carjacking also, that was at the beginning of the month that I informed you with, that happened on Route 69 and Warren Road area. That happened just after midnight on October 6th. And that person, the vehicle was finally recovered. I believe we recovered it in New Britain. That suspect is still at large, but he's wanted in numerous armed robberies throughout the state. And the FBI actually just, they have a bunch of charges on him as well. And they just offered a reward of $25,000 for information leading to his arrest. So we've been in close contact and collaboration with them as well on that. Moving on to the monthly report from the Investigative Services Unit. They had 11 new cases last month. The Howell Road case, the carjacking, some incidents at the school, commercial burglary, and the residential burglary that I just mentioned. In addition to that, they made 2 arrests. One I reported last month at the beginning of the month. They made the 2nd arrest for the homicide at the Pease Road Playground. And they also made an arrest in connection with the 2020 robbery that occurred on Broadway Road of an elderly female that was going into an office building. So that was that arrest was made. During the month, they conducted 13 fingerprint requests and initiated 2 pistol permit background investigations. And some of the criminal arrests for the month, just to recap, the 15-year-old juvenile, that was the one that was arrested for the robbery from December 2020 from 1 Broadway that I just mentioned, the homicide arrest, and there were 2 arrests by patrol for DUI, and one of those involved possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia. We're moving on to the motor vehicle activity report. During the month of October, patrol conducted 284 motor vehicle stops. Some of that was in conjunction with our department's participation in the state's distracted driving and high visibility enforcement campaign. In addition to the 2 arrests for DUI that I reported, they also conducted 402 deterrent traffic safety post details and 425 traffic radar details. And last month, we had a total of 31 motor vehicle accidents, 5 which involved injuries. And that's all I have to report on the activity.
Any questions?
We've been busy, Frank. There's a lot, it seems to be you're getting a real uptick in activity.
Yeah, we definitely are. The last few months have been somewhat challenging.
Okay. Can someone make a motion to approve the activity report?
So moved.
Thank you. A
Second,
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Commissioner
Aye.
Tito, Commissioner Shamrow.
Aye.
Dr. Freed,
Aye.
Dr. Seer.
Aye.
It carries unanimously. Moving on the agenda, the report of the chief.
So the first topic we have is approval of the 13-month meeting schedule. Copy of the proposed police commission meeting schedule for 2022 was included in the packets that Janice sent. As usual, the meetings will continue to take place on the 3rd Monday of the month. And as you can see on that proposed calendar, there's 4 dates where the meetings were changed to the 2nd Monday of the month due to Martin Luther King holiday, President's Day, Hanukkah in December, and then again, the Martin Luther King holiday for January of 2023. Janice needs to get these filed with the town clerk prior to December 31st. So if the board's good with that calendar, we need a motion to approve it.
I'm sorry, on the 2nd Mondays in January and February, I teach a class, so I can't do the January 10 or February 14th of 22. It's fine. I don't think I'll be doing that again next December or the following January, though I might. So I can't, second Mondays usually don't work for me.
I remember that we had a different meeting time and we altered it. I don't remember the reason to 6:15. One thing I wanted to ask the group is whether that time still works for everyone. I know some people had a harder time to get for different reasons. Does that still work for everyone? Dr. Sierra, you're on mute.
Sorry. And along those lines, do we really have to have a meeting on Valentine's Day?
I didn't choose the day. Don't. That wasn't, that's probably not the wisest choice.
We've
I'm
been
not
mar-
that bright a guy, but I think that may not be a good idea.
we've been married 42 years, but we're still hopelessly romantic. So that's not a great night.
I think that's wonderful. So I think we should change that date.
And also, I think we should change the 10th if Dr. Freed, if we know right now Dr. Freed can't make it, we should change it, because then if 2 other people can't make it, then the meeting's got to be canceled at the last minute.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And while you're doing that, I'm just checking the calendar.
So should we go to the first Monday of those? I'm not, well, so, yeah, I have to get my calendar.
I think that rather than go to the first Monday, we should probably pick a different day of the week, because it makes the meetings too close together if we start changing the weeks.
Good point. All right, I'm gonna run, get my calendar. I'll be ready. Does that make sense to everybody that we look at the weeks of January 10 and Feb 14 and choose a different day of those weeks?
No, it would be the week of January 17th, because that's when the meeting was supposed to be.
All right,
Unless we have it later. If we choose the week of January 10th, it should be towards the end of the week. Otherwise, we run into that same issue we ran into before with the meetings being too close together. How come it's just the lady
the-
doctors talking? Nobody else. has-
really, people?
No, I have conflict also. That's not great for me. So what days are you contemplating?
Let's see here. We're talking.
So
about
we're looking at the weeks of January 17th, for example, start with that.
Um,
Either, how about Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of that week, January 18, 19, 20?
Work for me.
20 is better for me.
I'm good on 20.
So it's going to be 1:20.
Okay, 6:15?
That's fine.
It's a Thursday.
Yes.
All right.
So it's going to be January 20th. Time is the same. No, 20th is good. Let's take a double check that. I'm good. We're good. Okay, so that's January 20th. There was another conflict date?
Valentine's Day. We're gonna reschedule
Val-
that.
Yeah, we're gonna reschedule Valentine's Day. Or we'll all be in trouble.
Well, it's more romantic than a police commissioner's meeting.
It's
Hey,
hard for me to
point.
imagine what could possibly be.
Well, let's have a party. We'll invite our wives
And husbands.
and husbands. Sorry about that. All right, so let's pick a date there.
Any
Let's see,
suggestions?
Monday is President's Day, so probably not that in case people travel or whatnot.
Monday, the what is
21st, sorry.
of the week of,
Deb.
oh,
February.
okay.
So the Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of that week?
Oh, I'm going to be in Hawaii.
It would have to be the 15th, 16th, or 17th.
So we're all going to Hawaii for that
Well,
week?
we're all
Thank
gonna
you.
go Hawaii for that meeting. Okay, that
So
sounds
if
great.
we could do it Thursday, the 17th, if that works. Oh, no, I
Thursday.
don't know when I'm leaving. Hold on.
Yeah, better figure that one out.
Hold on, I can tell you one
The
second.
17th of February is my son's 32nd birthday, which I thought was a national holiday, in case you all didn't know, but we can let it pass.
But I'm definitely, I will definitely be, President's Week, I will definitely be in Hawaii.
This is usually our most heated discussion each year.
So
Clearly.
I'm gonna be in Hawaii from February 11th to the 23rd, and then I'm gonna be basically till 26th. I'm gonna be in Hawaii and California. So I don't know that you have to plan the meeting around me. So
You may have to
February,
lose you
you're
for
out loud.
February.
yeah, you may have to lose me. If I can, if you're still remote, then I can try and log in if festivities permit.
Anyone have any suggestions on a date, the week of the 14th?
I could do 15, 16, or 17.
Gentlemen, any of those days work?
I'm good
Yes.
on 15, I'm good on 15 and 16 and 17 also, so.
Okay, doesn't make a difference. We can.
Why don't we do the 15th?
Okay,
15,
I will do my best to log in if I can, but don't count on it.
okay.
okay, so, were there any other issues for the rest of the dates?
Wait, I just realized I screwed up. Could we do the 16th instead? I think I have something that.
Yeah, I
Tuesday.
think that's better for me too, the 16th.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
All right, so we're going to February 16th, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You only get one alteration, by the way. Are there any other dates that anyone can identify as a problem? I mean, if we have, issues in the future, we can always amend it, but I'd like to see if we can look at it now.
Yeah, I think we should be good. It's nice to have, to know it's the third Monday to plan, so. I move we accept the calendar with those changes.
I'll second that.
Let's see. I think that's the only thing we have to vote on aside from the report. So do you want to do it, vote on the report as a whole or vote on the dates separately?
Oh, let's do it, can't we do it as a whole,
Janice says we have to do them separately, would be there.
separately?
Okay.
Okay,
So is there a motion to approve the dates as suggested with the suggested amendments?
So moved.
There's a second?
second,
Any further
Second.
discussion? Okay, we got a moving party in a second. Commissioner Esposito,
aye,
Jan Brown,
Aye.
Dr. Freed,
Aye.
Dr. DeSiero.
All
Okay, so the dates have been approved unanimously. The next item on your report is return to person meetings. You're muted, Frank.
All good. Recently, the first selectman announced that since the town has been in the yellow category or better for 3 weeks, according to the Department of Public Health's color-coded map regarding COVID transmission rates. So therefore, we may begin to meet in person or continue to meet virtually, whatever the board chooses to do. Currently, the state law allows virtual meetings to continue through April of 2022. In-person meetings will still require masks and social distancing. And due to social distancing, a limited number of chairs will be available to the public, which isn't really a problem for us. So based upon that information and with the hopeful anticipation that the COVID transmission rates remain low, it's the board's decision of how we want to move forward with our future meetings.
I missed the last sentence.
It's the board's decision how, how you'd like to move forward with our future meetings.
I do have one question. Probably more than one question, but my first question is everybody in the building and is everybody on the force vaccinated?
That's something that's not releasable.
Well, it's not releasable by maybe by person or name, but I don't think we should have in-person meetings if people are not vaccinated.
Right.
I agree.
Not everybody's vaccinated in this building.
I'm surprised when I spoke to our chief recently about in favor of in person, but I totally agree with Dr. Desir. That makes no sense to me. If they're unvaccinated people, they could be transmitting the virus and there's no reason for us to meet. And right, it's not giving away anyone's confidence, but yeah, I don't think that makes any sense. That's too bad, personally, but anyway.
Well, personally, it's hard for me to challenge our two physicians on the board. I mean, we're fortunate to have their input. I would tend to agree with what their position.
So this means there's people in our municipal building who are unvaccinated who are coming in to work?
Correct. Throughout the town, there's people, throughout the town buildings, there's people that are not vaccinated, I believe.
Who come in?
Yes.
Well then,
He has to wear a mask.
yes, I'm sure everyone wears a mask, but I mean, personally, when I see patients in my office, we're all vaccinated, including the booster as soon as you can get it, and we're masked. So to think of a municipal building, even masks, the masks aren't 100% people. So I actually did not know that.
Yeah, in the town came out with there's a town vaccination policy. I can forward to you, but there's.
Yeah, if you could just send us that, because I don't think you should be asking us to come into in-person meetings if you don't have 100. You can't go to a wedding today unless you upload your vaccination card. You can't step into a restaurant in New York City without a picture ID that matches the name on your vaccination card. I think that's disgraceful.
I don't think he's asking us to come into a meeting. I think it's just teed up for our discussion and consideration. And I defer to the good doctors, to their judgment. So I support whatever their position is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think.
I also, and
you're
I don't know,
disagreeing
I
with
have a
your
booster
eyes.
shot. I have 2 shots and I have the booster shot. And, and I'm still wearing a mask and we're doing all these things. So I'm wondering why are we doing all these things? But I agree with you. If there are people that are unvaccinated in the facilities, it's probably best we continue to meet the way we're meeting.
Okay, our next item is the Coronavirus Relief Act funding update. And this is what we voted on recently, correct?
Yes, correct. So that went to the Board of Selectmen for their consideration at the November 10th meeting, and they approved our acceptance of the Corona Relief Act funding being awarded by the state of Connecticut Office of Policy and Management. For that funding award stipulation, we're obligated to use that money by the end of the year. So for the next 5 or 6 weeks, we'll be using that to deploy extra patrols to assist in controlling some of the crime challenges that have been exacerbated throughout the pandemic. So just to make you aware, they're going to pick up the fringe benefit cost on whatever funding is put out during that time.
Does that also cover overtime?
Yeah, it'll be strictly overtime, but it doesn't. It's not used to supplant, minimum manpower and things like that. It's an addition, but it would all be overtime. So it's a reimbursement for that overtime, correct?
So the deficiency that was suggested by Commissioner Shambrown with our losing a sergeant to retirement, that overtime, can that be part of that funding?
No, because that would replace manpower, and this is to supplement in addition to additional staffing and resources.
Okay, that's beyond my financial ability to understand, but that's all right.
And then the last item I had was just to make you aware of the Stuffer Cruiser holiday event that'll be held on December 4th. The police department will be again teaming up with Starbucks and Katz's Deli. For that, it'll run, it's a Saturday, December 4th from 9 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon. And we'll be doing in the parking lot of DeAndrea's Plaza at 1660 Litchfield Turnpike. Officer Brian Predolino, with the assistance of Officer Carl Rodriguez Perez, are spearheading the event again this year. They kind of taken the lead on that for the last last few years. And similar to last year, all toys and donations will be forwarded to the benefit of both the Toys for Tots program and the Yale New Haven Children's Hospital. The event has had great success in the past years, and we're anticipating the same this year and hoping that the weather is accommodating as well. And that's all I have. Chief
How
Cecil.
did the coffee with the officer go? I actually stopped by twice. In the morning, I stopped by and there was a nice young officer there. And the afternoon, I stopped by, but they hadn't gotten, I guess they were on break.
Yeah, so what happened with that was that that event kicked off at 9:30, and
I was there.
just right after that is when we had the incident at the high school that I mentioned.
Okay,
And so it was pretty much all hands on deck for that. And
okay.
so we had to abort the coffee with a cop, and we never got back there because that event at 25 Newton took up the most of the day. But we're looking forward to doing it again in the future. And we're glad at least we got the basics in with that, and go forward with it again. And hopefully not have any interference. But thank you for showing up here. They did. I did hear that you were there.
Is there a motion to approve the report of the chief?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you. Commissioner Esposito,
Aye.
Commissioner Shannon,
Aye.
Dr. Freed,
Aye.
Dr. Seer.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. Next item on our agenda is hiring additional police officer, hiring additional dispatcher and commendations.
I apologize, all I have to sign off. I apologize, but I know everything's in good hands. See you next time.
Aye.
Bye.
Okay, so starting with hiring of additional officers. So as you know, since 2018, our staff had reduced by 3 full-time positions, and that resulted in a reduction in both patrol and supervision. And we've been operating now at levels that are well below where we were for many years. And as Commissioner Esposito, commented before, it's not the same old town, and the world around us is changing. It's not the same as it was years ago, but currently we're still operating with minimal staffing. We're trying to cover 19.2 square miles, and we're still having shifts out there with only 2 officers on the road and sometimes no on-duty supervisor. As you know, we're situated right between Waterbury and New Haven, and the crime from those areas and in between is continuing to impact our community as well. And we've just been really busy, and we've had 3 homicides in the past 3 years. And we've had numerous incidents involving firearms, probably this past year more than we've ever had before in town that I can recall. And the most recent was just last week. In that incident, our guys were chasing and struggling with a suspect armed with a handgun. And on that evening, there were only 2 men on, and they had a call for mutual aid during that. And again, this weekend, we had this serious motor vehicle accident during the early morning hours on Sunday, a rollover accident. They were trying to check in the woods and locate people that could have possibly been ejected out of the vehicle. And there were only 2 officers working that night as well. At the same time, while they were tied up with that, they received 3 additional calls for assistance at different ends of town. They had a 911 call from a residence in the north end of town off Amity Road. And then they had a suspicious activity at a residence off Ansonia Road on the very opposite end of town, as well as suspicious person vehicle complaint at a business that's open during the overnight hours. And we had no one to respond. And again, we had to reach out for mutual aid from both Ansonia Police Department and the Connecticut State Police to cover our calls, which it does. It results in somewhat of a delayed response because we're not heading over there immediately. And as we mentioned before, we're currently down 1 supervisor. We have another officer who we have a good feeling, he'll be going to another department after the first of the year. They've been conducting their background investigation on him, so we'll see how that shakes out. But from what the deputy and I have heard is that they're looking to hire him as well. And we have someone out on workers' comp right now. Hopefully that won't be too long. And that's really strapping us, not counting accrued time off for vacations, sick leave, and things like that. So the bottom line is we've been operating at bare bones, and now we're really strapped. And in addition to the safety and efficiency aspect, it continues to impact our overtime budget. So, as you know, a professional manpower and staffing study was done years ago. And it recommended that we be at a level of 26, which we did achieve over the years and maintain that. And it was proven to be, very successful and very effective for the longest time, over a decade. Then, come 2018, the board decided that, we were going to eliminate the lieutenant's position, and we were going to replace that with a patrol position to get more boots on the ground. So to shuffle things around a little bit. And that plan was in place, but then that never happened. We didn't end up putting another patrolman on. And then fast forward to last year, our budget was cut 2 more positions. So our strength from 26 officers brought us down to 23 officers, which is about just a little bit over 11% of the decrease since 2018 in our staffing. In the meantime, our calls for service continue to rise, and they keep going up every year. And at the rate we're going now, it looks like at the end of this year, we'll probably pass 32,000 calls. So that would be an increase of more than 25% over the past 3 years. So, I think we all realize that the townwide, we've all been trying to do more with less. But in our case, in trying to ensure public safety, I don't feel it's efficient or safe for the officers of the community to continue at this low staffing level. Tonight, the next topic on the agenda, we're going to discuss hiring an additional dispatcher. And I have absolutely no problem with that. I'm in favor of it. And I think it would be highly efficient to hire another dispatcher and to have 2 dispatchers on as often as we could. But on the same token, if the board's going to move forward with increasing the dispatch staff and act upon the dispatch consultant's recommendation to hire an additional dispatcher, I don't know how we can continue to disregard the police department staffing study that said we should be at 26 and we reduce it to 23. So the fact, the way I see it, the fact is that the landscape has changed all around us here in town. And because of that, we need to increase our staffing levels to safely and efficiently address that change. Again, I'm not opposed at all to hiring an additional dispatcher, but I just, strongly feel that if there's funding to do that, there should also be funding appropriated for the hiring of additional police officer as well. And I share that with the board for your consideration. And then the next topic was the hiring of the dispatcher. And as I said, the dispatcher's consultant report, he's recommending that we increase the dispatch staff from 6 to 7. And, his reason for that is valid. It'll allow for more flexibility in the scheduling and allow for a second dispatcher to be on duty more often, and it'll have less of an impact on filling time off, sick time vacancies, and it'll provide additional dispatcher on duty during storms or events without throwing off the other end of the work schedule. And he feels with 7 dispatchers, we would be able to possibly make a change in the dispatcher's work scheduled hours. So it would be different than what it is now. And by doing that, it would provide more coverage, more dispatch coverage of rather than having one, have 2 on more so. And he estimates the financial impact for that at approximately $81,000 for added payroll and benefits. So those are the 2 hiring matters for personnel. I don't know, how you want to address those.
Well, if I could just start off the discussion, in the past, prior to Commissioner Shamram and Commissioner Esposito's involvement on this board, I was hesitant to add additional positions in years past. In fact, I think it's fair to say that I was, a significant part of at least the initial discussion to remove the lieutenant position. Those actions occurred a number of years ago, and things have changed in our town significantly, in my opinion, since then. And as it relates to the dispatchers, we all heard from them recently how they're stretched pretty thin, and an additional person they unanimously indicated to us would be a relief to them. They play a role that's probably not well appreciated by many of us, because we rarely deal with dispatchers aside from issues that we're dealing with through complaints. They're the voices that keep our officers safe. So I do support adding both of those positions, both an additional dispatch, additional patrolman. There had been complaints in the past that we were top heavy with too many supervisors, but I do think that at least we are consistent in that we're adding additional patrol this time. I just think that we're dealing with issues now that we never dealt with as a town before, at least, since I've been in town since '94. I know Commissioner Esposito has been a member of this town for significantly longer than that, but I have seen a significant difference since then.
Yes.
And actually the last couple of years. So
It's been in the last, you're right, and I support the chair. I think that we're going to be competing with dollars, Frank. But on the other hand, I think you made a very strong case. Now, when Mike and I met with you on the budget, we said it's going to be very important, that we're going to have to make good cases for what we need. But I will tell you that you're making a strong case for an officer, and based on the facts, there's no question about the fact we need both. So if we like to make a motion do we have to do it individually? You want to make it on an individual basis, or we can make a motion for both? I think your presentation was excellent, and there's no question about the fact that we should move forward on it, on both candidates, for both. I think that, it's just different, times are different, and the police department, and I remember as a member of the Board of Finance for 10 years, I sat on that committee. I sat in your meetings for almost 8 of the 10 years. And I will tell you, the police department got passed over on a lot of things. We had a fight for a car, a $50,000 car, when other people were getting $150,000 trucks and $500,000 fire trucks. And maintenance trucks and other things. So I think that we've come to a point where we have a need. This is not something we want. We have a need for additional staffing, protect the people in town. It's about protecting the taxpayers. So I'm prepared to make a motion that we hire both these people and move forward with it.
Commissioner Esposito, I think it'd be cleaner if we separate them into 2 separate motions. Before we vote on it, I'm curious to hear Commissioner Shamram's position, only because of your direct involvement in law enforcement that Commissioner Esposito and I don't have.
I fully support and agree everything that the chief brought up. I think he did an excellent job with his argument. I echo the sentiments of Commissioner Esposito. The only thing I would add is it's not just a matter of public safety. It's a matter of officer safety. And it's critical that this commission keep that in mind.
Unfortunately, we lost you.
He freeze. Well, while he's frozen, can I just add that
Yes.
I agree with Commissioner Esposito, and I think that we should proceed. And I think that officer safety is paramount because
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we lost him at a critical point.
We lost Michael.
Commissioner, if I could add a couple things.
Please.
Since the beginning of this year, I compared some of our statistics between this year and last year. And we have made 61% higher traffic stops this year. We've had our stolen vehicles, 38% is up from this time this year compared to last year. Motor vehicle accidents are up 18%. Our case numbers are up 8%. And the biggest fear is that when we have 2 officers on the road, like we did the other night, and we have one bad motor vehicle accident in which it's a rollover, we're looking to see if someone's dead or alive, and we need the 2 officers to search for these people, and we have 3 other high priority incidents coming in. We're really strapped. We're always depending, my short time here, we've been depending on other towns to help us out on numerous occasions, some from as far away as Naugatuck to Milhaven, Ansonia, Connecticut State Police. And really one motor vehicle accident or one violent domestic, which we've had a handful of those incidents tie up 2 officers, and it just leaves the rest of our department, or rest of our town, with very few resources. So as far as officer safety is concerned, we have officers sometimes go into incidents that definitively need 2 and sometimes need 3 officers. So I think we've been very lucky that no one's been seriously injured. None of our officers have been seriously injured, and and our residents. But we're at bare bones minimum doing it with smoke and mirrors, and it's very difficult. And I foresee that in the future, something's going to happen. And one body, 2 bodies, whatever help the commission can give us, would be much appreciated. Our proactivity is up over the last few months, which I'm happy to report, and our overall activity is up. Our officers are doing a very, very good job solving, several felonies, big time felony, arrests. So I'm pretty proud of, what I've seen in the last few months. But it's really getting to be a big time issue with just, safety, really for everyone involved.
You have to get Mike back.
Yeah, we lost him a couple times. Hopefully he'll come back to finish.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Sorry about that.
So we caught you up to the point with the critical part of officer safety, and then you froze on us.
Okay, the most important part. Yeah, and I think as a commission, we have the responsibility to ensure that the department is appropriately staffed and resourced, not only to protect the public safety, but to protect the men and women of the police department. And as we look at the increase in numbers, as we see the coverage on some shifts is below optimal, it just causes me concern. And I think we owe that, again, to the men and women of the department, and not just the public, that they're properly resourced. So I fully support both of those propositions, both increasing the staffing of the dispatchers, again, critical role, and then also increasing, making sure that we have enough officers with boots on the ground and those shifts are adequately covered.
So let's start with hiring additional officer. Is someone willing to make a motion to add an additional patrolman to the ranks of the Woodbridge Police Department?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Going through the roll call, Commissioner Esposito,
Aye.
Commissioner Shamrown,
Aye.
Dr. Desir.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. The next item for consideration is the hiring of additional dispatcher for the Woodbridge Police Department.
I'll move it.
Is there a second? As you can see, actively.
Mike's.
That was a yes.
Was that a yes, Mike?
I think so. Commissioner Esposito,
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Shamrown,
Aye.
Dr. Desir, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was on mute. Aye.
Okay, that carries unanimously. The next item is the combinations.
And thank you for both those positions. They're much needed and much appreciated. Yeah, moving on to the accommodations. So as you know, because you all signed them, certificates of accommodation were recently signed by all of you and myself to recognize and acknowledge the efforts of not only our investigative services unit, but also members of the Connecticut State Police Central District Major Crime in connection with the homicide at the Pease Road Playground that occurred on June 7th. So this investigation by our detectives, Sergeant AJ Capiello, Detective Mike Lezzi, and from the State Police, Sergeant Ralph Soda, Detective Lindsay Valcourt, and Detective Derek McGregor. Through their lengthy and comprehensive investigation, which involved the collection and analysis of forensic evidence, multiple interviews, and the preparation and execution of numerous search warrants. Because of their exemplary service and dedication to duty, they're not only able to identify and arrest the two individuals responsible for this crime, but also they recovered the victim's stolen vehicle, all the personal belongings, and recovered recovered two firearms that were used in his death, and got those off the street. And their extensive work and detailed work was not only recognized by us here, but has also been lauded by the inspectors and the prosecutors at the New Haven State's Attorney's Office as well. So we just want to formally acknowledge all of them for that. And a fantastic job by all involved in getting these dangerous people and the firearms off the street. And that's all under personnel.
The next item on the agenda is the capital budget.
For our capital budget for fiscal year 23 has been prepared and reviewed by both Commissioners Esposito and Shanbrom of the Budget Subcommittee. We have 4 capital projects that are being proposed. The first one is the largest. We're seeking to purchase 2 new police marked SUV vehicles and 1 unmarked administrative vehicle. These 3 vehicles will all be replacements and not additional vehicles. Currently, 3 of our patrol vehicles have really high mileages, which actually led up to what I mentioned earlier about the, where we're at way up on our vehicle maintenance repair line in only 4 months into the fiscal year, this current fiscal year. But 3 of these patrol vehicles have mileages right now between 107,000 all the way up to 122,000, not counting the idling mileage. And some of the vehicles assigned to ISU have mileage between almost 153,000, and one of them is up to 177, over 177,000. I mean, they're so, they're just getting up there in age that actually the gas tank fell right off one of the cars when they're en route to an emergency call the other day. So, we got behind, we've cut back over the years, and big cutback, and we used to have a cycle, and and understandably so, at times it had to be reduced, but now it's all catching up to us. So that's the reason for that, for all those vehicles. The second project we have is replacement and associated repair of our police facilities intercom system, which is currently inoperable in several critical areas throughout the building, and these areas house prisoners, sometimes overnight, and also during detention, transportation in and out of the building. So that's something that we need to get fixed. And the third project is in association with our previously approved S2 door locking system that was approved for this current fiscal year. We're looking to further enhance with that and expand to more access points throughout the facility. This has already been done and put in place into almost all the other town buildings, but not here at the PD. And for us, it'll provide not only increased security, but it also provides some documented preservation of our operational integrity associated with prisoner detention, storage of reports, criminal records, weapons, properties, and evidence, and things of such. And then the last project is want to acquire an additional speed awareness monitoring trailer. We have one, and with our goal of promoting highway safety, and as you hear all the concerns we have about speeding and everything, it will just supplement our staffing levels if we could purchase another one of these. We asked for it last year and it got pushed out to this year, fiscal year 23. Our current trailer remains in constant use, but it's an invaluable asset. And this new trailer that we're proposing will have the capability to preserve traffic data that could be used for statistical analysis to further our enhance our efforts to lower speed and reduce the frequency of motor vehicle crashes and reduce injury severity. So those are the four projects that I have. I don't know if Commissioner Shambram or Commissioner Esposito would like to make any comments further on that, but we'll need a vote by the board to approve the capital.
Hey, Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah, I just want to make one comment briefly. So 3 of the 4 items discussed go directly to officer safety. Again, that has to be a priority of this commission. And that last item goes directly to motor vehicle and public safety. So I fully support both of those.
I also, we did spend a few hours with Frank. We did review the budget. We concur with everything he has, and we even added some things to the budget. Now, we feel that, like these devices that are used to monitor traffic and speed, I'd be happy if we had 4 of those, okay? Right now, with this one, we'll have 2. This is one way for us to effectively, use technology to get troops on the road where these things are very effective when people see these, getting them to slow down, okay? And they are effective to use. So I think that everything on here is very important. And again, our only problem is, Frank, we're going to be competing when we get before the Board of Selectmen. We're going to be competing with a lot of other people with dollars, and we may want to strengthen this. Okay, this is, you wrote to Tony. I talked to Tony. Talked to me about it. He thought it was a great presentation, but we still have to go before the Board of Selectmen, and they're going to be hunting. So we have people coming in asking for 10% increases, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody has their needs and wants. So I think that we have to be prepared, but we support this. So you need a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve it.
I'd just like to add one quick thing, Commissioner Esposito.
Go ahead.
I just want to point out that the request for the traffic trailer it accomplishes a similar goal as we.
Again, while he's frozen, I'll add that the 4th thing, are you back, Mike?
Yeah. You hear me?
Go ahead.
I just want to point out that the additional traffic trailer is a great solution. It's both cost effective and effective in reducing speeding and public safety.
I agree.
And I think that the rate of speed on the town roads is a tremendous problem.
You're absolutely correct, and it's on all roads. It's on Beecher Road, it's on Summer Road. I've had people go over double yellow lines going down Amity Road. I mean, I'll tell you what, there's no question about the fact that it almost seems like things are radically out of control. And everybody in it, and the speed is incredible, no matter where you are. And so you're absolutely correct.
So I know that someone started with a motion to approve the budget.
I
think it
did.
was.
I started with.
Okay, is there, so you're moving to approve, is there a
I'm
second?
moving to approve.
Seconded, when he,
Second, is there any further discussion? Trudy Esposito, what is your vote? I'm sorry,
Aye.
Andy Esposito, yes.
Aye.
Mr. Shambrown.
Aye.
Dr. Desir.
aye.
Okay, that carries unanimously. The one thing on it says operating budget preparation. In the past, Frank, I have gone with you to the budget presentation, and I'm wondering if we should consider convincing Commissioner Esposito to go, considering his vast experience on finance. He's willing to do it.
That sounds like a good idea.
I figure we'll bring in the heavy hitters this time.
And again, I'd be happy to do it, and I think that, and I'd like, I think Mike should come too, because I think it's important that, he get involved in that also,
Okay.
because, and the presentation will be to the Board of Selectmen, then we'll have a presentation to the Board of Finance. I think it's very worthwhile sitting in on these things. Now, obviously, I've been on the other side of the aisle for many, many years, so.
If you want to pencil the date in for that, it's for our capital budget presentation, the joint boards of the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance. It'll be on the evening of December 2nd. I don't have the time yet. When I get that, I'll share it with you.
Is that December 2nd is for both, or is that a combined meeting?
No, it's just a capital budget, but I believe
The
it's a
capital budget.
joint meeting. Yeah.
This is for capital budget. Is going to be a combined meeting of finance and selectmen? Okay,
Yep.
all right.
So a term of art in my field is called a hot bench. And in the past, they've peppered us, both Frank and I, with questions. So just be ready to be quizzed, which I'm sure you two will.
We also know, there's a few members on that board already that are have a list of questions already for us. So
Yes.
very nice.
So I don't see anything else on our agenda, aside from a motion to adjourn.
I so motion.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Now for our final roll call of the evening. Commissioner Esposito,
Aye.
Commissioner Shannon Brown,
Aye.
Dr. Desir.
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Thank you all for your time.
Everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Likewise.
Thank you.